What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast, just in episode 234. I am here tonight with Ryan, and sometimes Tyler stumbles his way in, and tonight is one of those nights. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Tyler comes off mute, and then he just raises his eyebrows.
There.
Like, hey.
In complete silence.
I'm doing great. I know the Wings made a lot of moves, which I'm sure we're not going to talk about because I missed my opportunity there.
Where have you been?
Busy.
Oh, okay.
No, actually.
The man with no kids is busy.
I'm actually moving again, so that should be interesting. But,
yeah.
Was there a lover's quarrel?
No, it's not a big deal. But no, yeah, so I'm going to be dealing with that. But other than that, I should be good to go here. Looking forward to talking about the Wings tonight and going forward.
Ryan?
I'm good. I'm still mildly recovering from the weekend. Was in Traverse City for a buddy of mine's bachelor party. It was fantastic.
Partying with who, Ryan? Who were you partying with?
Alec Martinez.
Yeah, how was that?
Not a big deal.
He might be known out there in hockey, but no, it was a good time. We got all hung out Friday. Actually got to visit Mr. Martinez's home, which was beautiful for those that have any interest. But hung out on Torch Lake Friday and Saturday, and it was absolutely fantastic. We missed out on any rain and no bad weather the whole time, so it was like 80 the whole weekend, which was perfect. Got the sandbar Saturday, hit up the bars, and that's about it.
Love Torch Lake. So if you've never been to Torch Lake, it is a must. Like you have, and you're in the Michigan area, like blue water, beautiful lake, pretty warm most of the time.
15 foot straight down to the bottom. You can just see straight through.
Yep, and it's pretty warm most of the time because it is rather shallow in a lot of parts. So it's a nice time. Go to Torch Lake. That's the Grindline Podcast.
Highly recommend the sandbar if you do. That's
lake
where we spent
endorsement
Saturday.
Of the week will be Torch Lake. That's our lake endorsement. But we do have some stuff to talk about tonight. Now, there's not a lot of news in Red Wings land because, like Yzerman said in his press conference, it's some administrative stuff to wrap up.
Worst possible time.
It absolutely is. Now, there's one thing that I want to ask about before we move into what we're going to do tonight, which is a jersey number and roster projections. What's happening with Joe Veleno? I'm going through my roster projection. It's like Joe Veleno's not signed yet. And he's an RFA and he got his qualifying offer. And you see these other RFAs. Now he's not arbitration. So what's going on with Joe Veleno?
Is he overvaluing himself? Maybe.
I mean, he could be, but he doesn't have a leg to stand on.
No pun intended.
No, he doesn't have a leg. That would be he doesn't have a leg to step on, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you'd think he'd be signed by now, and you'd think he'd be like, I'll just take a $2 million, $1.75 million contract for a couple years, and then prove that I can improve my game, and then when the cap bump happens, then I can maybe make a little bit more money. But I mean, if he's trying to argue, which again he can't really argue, like what's taking so long? Unless he just not going to accept the qualifying offer and he just won't play.
I mean, do you think? I mean, he's obviously not going the Zadina route and be like, trade me right fucking now. But do you think that he's trying, like you just mentioned, that the cap's going up? Do you think he's trying to get a little bit more money from the squeeze a little bit here? Or I mean, I would get why if he's not going to get term most likely. I mean, because usually when they're tendered, it's a 1-year deal, right? So if he can try to negotiate more, great. But you're not one of those top 6 guys that's deserving of more than 2-3 years at this point.
And I mean, it's not to say that Joe Veleno is a bad player. He's not. He has not progressed, I think, as fast as we thought he might, to the level that we thought he might. And if you're saying, hey, Joe, take $1.5 million for 2 years, and he's 23, so 2 years takes him to 25. Like, you would think he'd just say, okay, and then he'd just do it. Like, I don't know what his qualifying offer is, but you would think he'd just take it for a couple years and then say he can improve himself and improve his game, because he was taking steps towards the end to show that he was developing. But I mean, I don't know why he, and that was the thing that I'm going through, like making my roster, and he's not on the roster builder on Cap Friendly because Jay Fresh hasn't released his war stuff yet.
Yeah, that messed with me.
Yeah, I know. But I'm going on and I'm like, where's Joe Veleno? And I had to go in and sign him as an RFA in order to put him on my roster. So that was just one thing. I'm like, yeah, where's Joe Veleno? And it's just kind of weird to me that he hasn't gotten anything done yet. I assume it will get done. But again, it makes a roster even tighter.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, is he worthy of a bigger contract than, say, a Christian Fischer right now? Who's making only $1.125 million?
I don't think so. I mean, Fischer's older. He's 26. He's proven himself as kind of, like we said, that Pia Suter PK guy. Joe Veleno is just starting to get his legs under him, really, in the league. And like I said, he's improved toward the end of last season, but he started off slow, had some shortcomings during the season. I could see him. I mean, maybe that might be what Yzerman's saying is like, hey, but again, he can't argue because he's not ARB eligible. So you take your QO or you work on a short-term deal. And if you don't, you just don't play. You sit out.
Yeah, but couldn't he go overseas? That could be an option too, couldn't it?
I guess. I mean, yeah, I think if you are a contract holdout, because did Puljujärvi do that? Puljujärvi went overseas.
He did for 1 year.
Was that because he didn't want to sign his deal?
Yeah,
or they didn't want to sign. Okay, so it's like, it could be the same thing, I guess. But to me, it doesn't make sense. So Joe Veleno not on the Red Wings roster as of right now.
Yeah, the thing that I don't understand too is, I mean, he had 20 points last year in 81 games. So he was durable, but not very productive. I would like to see what his defensive stats are. That's one thing that would intrigue me. Is he a guy that could be your fourth line center? Sure. I don't see why not. But you've signed guys that have kind of filled that role at this point, right? I mean, you have guys like Fischer and stuff like that.
Fischer's not playing center though.
He can play center though, can he not?
When I was on Cap Friendly, center is not one of his listed positions, just right wing, left wing.
Well, okay, so then I guess Veleno is the de facto fourth line center if he wants to be that. Like I said, could he go overseas? Could he say
you don't want Fischer playing center? He was 9 of 40 last season.
So then that's not an option then. But again, like I said, is going overseas an option, or is it a situation where Joe Veleno gets kind of not the same treatment as Zadina got, but a situation where he's like, trade me now. I want to be traded. I want bigger opportunity.
Why would you though? Because you're if anything, you're the 13th forward. Like him and Fischer, I could guarantee would be guys that rotate. Because you look at that potential fourth line, you need Veleno there unless you've got Rasmussen going on the fourth line, which you shouldn't.
No.
At this point. Robby Fabbri you probably have Raz in the wing. You're not dropping Compher or Copp down to fourth line center. So you don't want Fischer there, and you're not putting Berggren there. You want him playing on the wing. Veleno, it's really on him. We can't say which one way or the other, but it is, to me, it's just weird he hasn't just signed it.
And because he doesn't have a contract, he's penciled in as my extra forward right now because he doesn't have a contract. But if you were asking about his defensive numbers, Tyler, he's got an EV defensive 93%. So the only downside is his EV offense is 1%, which is really, really bad. So
he doesn't bring much to the table offensively.
That's what he needs to do.
And he needs to bring some more offensively. I mean, what is acceptable stats for Veleno? 40 points?
As a bottom 6 guy?
Well, 40 points for Joe Veleno? Man.
No.
30? I mean, 10 more than what he already had last year.
I mean, I think that's a win.
Yeah, that would be an improvement, but I want him to bump the goals up, is what I want.
If you're getting 30 to 40 points from a fourth line center, that the depth is finally hit.
Yeah, like that's super depth right there.
He was a late first round pick. So, I mean, there still is some upside there. Is it what we thought it was? No, but it's like a Rasmussen situation. Yeah, he's a first round pick. Obviously not a high first round pick, but
So the Joe Veleno saga will continue. We will keep it updated as it unfolds, but we do have...
Is it really a saga? Is that even a way to describe
the
situation?
Ryan. We're in the no news season.
This isn't Days of Our Lives, Greg.
No, it said it's... I didn't say it was an opera. I said it was a saga. Like Star Wars is a saga, Joe Veleno has a saga now. Because there's no, like we said off the top, there's no other
Joe
news.
Veleno as polarizing as Star Wars at this point?
No, maybe not. Definitely not as polarizing as episodes 1 through 3. Maybe as polarizing as the new Star Wars stuff. Maybe.
It's probably fair because now everyone has an appreciation of 1 through 3 now.
See, there you go. So we do have a jersey number.
The best 3.
Shut up. They are not. You shut your goddamn mouth. So, on Twitter, NHL Jersey Numbers has posted that defenseman Justin Holl will wear jersey number 3 for the Detroit Red Wings, which threw some people into a tizzy. There were some very, very mad people.
Didn't we give away one of those?
We did. Simon Edvinsson will no longer wear number 3, if the report is correct.
That's a good trivia thing now.
Great. Yeah. What was Simon Edvinsson's original number for 9 games in the Detroit Red Wings? But... Simon Edvinsson has been wearing jersey number 77 in Grand Rapids. So I'm guessing he will bring 77 over to Detroit, which isn't a problem because that number is not in use currently.
And that number is very similar to the comp that he had when he was picked as a prospect, Victor Hedman. People saying, Simon Edvinsson, potential Victor Hedman kind of player, now wearing the number 77 potentially.
Simon Hedman. Nice. But what do you think? Number 3, Justin Holl. He carries it over from Toronto. Are you as mad as people on Twitter about it?
No.
That was an easy answer.
It's so easy. If Edvinsson had been here and wore it for the entire season, cementing himself as that person to have number 3, sure. I might actually, get a little pissed off.
You might care.
I might have a little bit of oh, that's fucked up, but whatever. But no, I don't. I would be more pissed off if I spent the money on his jersey.
Which we did to give to someone.
Yeah, we did do that, but that's beside the point. That was in good faith. But I don't know. I mean, you think about it. I just made the comparison to Holmstrom. He was number 15 when he started out and then switched to 96. Now, it's not his number getting taken, unless you want to complain about Walman wearing 96, which thanks someone I actually pointed that out that I forgot Walman's 90 number when we were talking about the numbers. But no, it's whatever. It was cool to see 3 out there again because I think when was the last time we had it? Bob Rouse.
For what?
Nick Jensen.
Oh, Nick Jensen. That's right. I always forget about that guy. Number 3.
Oh, number 3. Yeah. No.
He wore number 3 too, didn't he?
There's very forgettable people in that.
Brendan Smith were number 3?
No, Smith was 2.
Wore 2, yeah.
Nick Jensen, Alex Biega, Kent Huskins before that, Red Wings legend, Kent Huskins.
God.
The last notable player to wear it is Lilia.
He wore 3?
He was 3. Yeah,
Lilia was 3. Jesse Wallen was 3. Doug Huda was 3. And then Bob Rouse. And then Steve Chason.
My thoughts on it are okay, so I liked the way 3 looked on Edvinsson. It looked like, I don't know. It's me and Ryan. We've talked about this before. The number on the back with the name. It something about it just looks cool. And I thought 3 and Edvinsson looked cool. I wanted one, but I guess at the end of the day, 77 wouldn't be the worst. He wore it in Grand Rapids, so.
I mean, single digit numbers pop.
Without looking, who was the last 77 on the team?
Ooh. Paul Coffey?
Nope, that was 2 ago.
Ooh. Somebody else did it?
2 other players after Paul Coffey were number 77.
2 other players? Ah, Jesus.
Yep.
Yuri Slager wear that?
Nope.
No, he was 74.
Dan Renouf?
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't count.
Evgeny Svechnikov.
Oh, yeah, Svechnikov did wear that. Because he switched from 37 to 77. That's right.
Oh.
And that was 2018. So there's your 2 other and your sweater trivia. Here will be the Edvinsson, if he brings it over, will be the 4th Detroit Red Wing to wear number 77. I am also not angry about it because I have other things to worry about. That's like someone was really angry, and let me see if I can find the comment again. But they're like, "How dare he?" They're like, "That's effed up." It's not like he's a superstar. It's like, but it's not like you said, Ryan. It's not like Edvinsson played 300 games with the number, then Holl comes in and is like, "Give me that number." Like that didn't happen.
Did Justin Holl get to call the shots on what jersey he wants to wear, though? I don't like that.
He's an older defenseman who's been in the league for a while, and it's been his number.
He's been in the league for 6 years and played at a high level for good teams.
So, I mean, and he probably, and I assume he didn't just come in and take it. I assume he talked to Simon Edmonds, was like, "Hey, I've had this number my whole career, and you've only played 9 games. Can I keep it?" And Simon Edmonds was probably like, "Yeah, I'm 77 in Grand Rapids anyway, so it doesn't matter." I mean,
hell, it could have just been the fact that Edmonton was like, "Hey, you're wearing this number."
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's generally that the younger guys will give the older guys their numbers if they want to keep them because they've been wearing them for longer.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, whatever. It's a number. And,
that's a very Ryan, Tyler statement.
No, but us going back to, cool numbers and the way they look, I was fascinated to see what number DeBrincat was going to wear. And to see him wear 93, which is one of my favorite numbers. I think it looks cool on the back of a jersey, and I'll definitely be getting that.
I like high numbers.
That's going to be, I think, pretty sweet. And the fact that he did go the route of the mule, do we call him a Shetland pony now at this point? Because that's kind of the opposite of
Shetland horse. No, because if you go the mule is a half horse. Is DeBrincat the donkey?
Oh.
Or the ass. He's the ass of the Detroit Red Wings. No, that's Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin's the ass of the Red Wings.
Don't insult the hockey bud.
Don't mess with Team US. That's America's ass. That's what that is. So we're going to move on to the meat of the episode. But before we do, so that we're not interrupting it in the middle. Yeah, meat, Ryan. So that we're not interrupting the middle of our episode, we're going to take a quick break for a word from DraftKings before we get back with our mock lineup so we can all fight each other about who goes where, because that's going to happen. So we'll be back in 1 minute after a word from DraftKings. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-HOPENY or text HOPENY. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, in West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. 10 plus legal required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. And we're back. And before we get into it, if you could go check us out on YouTube, or you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. But if you're not, go sub to us, like the videos, turn on notifications, and you'll be updated with all the content that we do during the season. We are 120 subs away from 1,000, so we're really trying to push that 1,000 goal. So if you go sub to us on YouTube, we greatly appreciate it. But we are going to jump in to our roster projections for the season based on what we're given today. So right now, we are currently, with mine, if signing Joe Veleno at 1.75 gets us to a cap hit of about $77 million, which is still well under the salary cap. Yzerman has said that if there's a move out there that makes sense, he'll make the move if it makes sense. So he could spend more money, but as of right now, he is not. So I feel like if we do our projections now, Yzerman will make a move within the next 2 days that completely ruins our episode. So let's make our predictions, and then he'll go sign Tarasenko or some dumb shit. So who wants to start with their projection first? Should I go with mine first since I'm the most prepared? I will go with mine first since I am the most prepared. So, and you guys can go back.
I was looking at yours anyways, and it doesn't differ much. I mean, I'm not too wrapped around who's going to be where at the moment.
Yep.
It's more about who's going to be the extra or the odd man out, or who's not going to make the roster.
Okay. So I guess we'll go line by line. You guys can throw your input in. So let's do that. I have mine set. So we'll go line by line, and you can say you agree with it, disagree with it, what changes you would make. So top line right now, I have Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Larkin, David Perron. So David Perron gives you, though slow and older, high offense, goes to the corner to dig out pucks, is a great playmaker, which is why he's on the power play. He's on the power play to make plays. He sets up Dylan Larkin. He sets up Alex DeBrincat. He can also score. Dylan Larkin sets up DeBrincat, sets up Perron, can also score. Alex DeBrincat sets up Larkin, sets up Perron, can also score. So I think you've got a pretty powerful top line right there. You've got scorers. There's your offense, your guy who digs out the pucks. Even though he's a little slow, that keeps DeBrincat on the left where he's been playing, keeps Perron on the right where he's been playing, and keeps Dylan Larkin right in the middle. What do you think?
The only thing I've been kind of differing on and torn on is the way the signings happened. And I think I mentioned this when we were first talking about it. You can pretty much have a righty and a lefty up your right side and left side. However you want to set those up, whatever. Because right now you've got two righties on both wings, which it's not the end of the world. I think it's fantastic because sometimes it can work into your favor going against a lot of left-handed defensemen. But the only one I would really even debate switching is Perron. But for who is where I'm torn at, I would almost lean a Copp or a Rasmussen, because you want a guy that's going to be able to play both ends of the ice. Perron can do that, but he also is a fantastic guy going for the puck and then creating something off those loose puck battles or chances. And I think Copp and Raz can do a lot of that same thing, and all those guys are good at driving to the net. Nice thing with Copp, if you were to throw him up there and get him off center, is now you give him a little bit more opportunity to go in that playmaking wing style. We already know that he was doing that on the center, and he's very sound defensively, but it's tough. Like I don't know. I wouldn't be against the Perron, Larkin, DeBrincat.
I would personally go Larkin, DeBrincat, and one of Rasmussen or Copp. Berggren and Raymond, I know a lot of people will say, why don't you just slide them up because they're the younger guys? But they don't hunt pucks like guys like Rasmussen and Rasmussen and Copp. I mean, those guys are bigger guys, especially with DeBrincat, who is 5'10".
No,
is he smaller than that?
No, he's like 5'7".
5'7", 5'8". Okay, so yeah, a smaller guy. I mean, obviously he's got some dog in him too. He's able to get the puck.
Got that dog in him.
He's got.
He's not afraid to go into a corner and battle. That much has already been shown. I mean, even with Perron though, he's only 6. I'm going to say only, but he's 6'2", 200. I mean, if Raymond has beefed up this offseason, because right now Cap Friendly shows him at 5'11", 170, I don't have a problem moving him in place of David Perron.
I agree
at all. Because he's getting stronger. Now you've got that opportunity to let him really go battle. And we saw what he can do in one-on-one situations last year and the growth that already took place there. Greg, what are you going to say?
So initially I had Copp on the top left wing with Larkin and DeBrincat. That's what I initially had. And I put that out there and a bunch of people yelled at me. And I had to yell back at them because Copp is the defensive version of JT Compher. JT Compher is the offensive version of Andrew Copp. They're like the same player with different strengths. So I said eventually, Andrew Copp is probably going to be a wing on this team based on center depth and signings in the offseason. It could be right now. So I would have no problem sliding Andrew Copp right up to line one. He's defensively responsible. Like you said, he will go pull pucks out of the corner and feed the guys. I just think that David Perron has a little bit more offensive touch and actually a little bit more puck retrieval and protection than Andrew Copp has. So
he was good at doing the box out move.
Yep. Yeah. I said a lot of times there were a lot of moments where you watch David Perron, you were like, is that Henrik Zetterberg with his puck protection? And it was damn near spot on, like identical to some stuff that Zetterberg used to do. But that comes with playing that position for so long that he's able to get to that level. So go ahead, Tyler.
I just got one small thing to add. You talk about, Perron and Copp are kind of the same in terms of getting the puck and, battling in the corner. Where I think it's a little bit different is I think David Perron has the scoring touch where Copp is more of a playmaker. And, having Larkin, who's already a playmaker, who can also score. But, I mean, on his best days, he's a playmaker. And, having two playmakers on a line with Alex DeBrincat could be the recipe for success.
Those threats open Dylan Larkin up to elite level playmaker Dylan Larkin.
Yep.
See, and Tyler, your point there is where having Copp with Larkin and DeBrincat could almost be more beneficial, because we were talking about it in the Discord, I think it was, and Perron led the team. Now, granted, this is on the power play, in power play shots last season. He led the team. I think he beat Larkin by 1. So do you want that guy taking those shots away from Larkin or DeBrincat on 5-on-5?
Nope.
I mean, it's not saying it's a bad thing, because we know that Larkin and DeBrincat, they can set guys up just as easily as Perron could the other way around, or whomever on that other wing. But it did seem like last year, maybe because of how the team was performing, that he took it upon himself to shoot more. Now, he was in Ovi's office, if you want to call it that, for most of the season on the power play. So it made sense why so many shots were coming from him. But at 5-on-5, I don't know. I think I'm just kind of grasping at straws to debate why it would be possibly negative, but I don't really. It's hard to say that it would be.
Flexibility, guys. Flexibility is the name of the game.
The other thing that I kind of think about too, if you're not really thinking about hunting pucks and you're just thinking about playmaking, who's a better playmaker other than Dylan Larkin on this team than Lucas Raymond?
Sure. Which is why I have Lucas Raymond on line 2 with Michael Rasmussen and Andrew Copp. Right there, you've got your guy to dig out pucks in Michael Rasmussen, but also Andrew Copp. You've got your big body in front of the net in Rasmussen. You've got your shot and playmaker and Lucas Raymond. And I think that's another line if we're expecting Rasmussen to take another step as well this coming season in his offense. And not saying Ras is going to be a 30-goal scorer, but if you could get Ras at 20 goals on that line 2, 20 goals, 30 assists, if you could get Ras to a 50-point guy on the second line, and then you've got Copp, who you expect to be back to form. I'm not going to say take another step, but to be back to form. Because if you were to look at Jay Fresh's war cards of Andrew Copp now and just take out last season and look at Andrew Copp, they're two completely different players. And I can put that on a couple things, being the recovery from the surgery and also having a new team and new system and new coaches and all that. It's a little bit to get used to. But if Andrew Copp gets back to form, and if we but think that Lucas Raymond could get to a 30-goal, 70-point season, again, you're top 6, and that's saying Rasmussen probably should be a third-line player, but will flex up because of his skill set. I think you're looking dangerous on the second line.
I mean, I think you can just flex him up, too, because of the way he started to play against top-tier talent.
Yeah.
I mean, he is not afraid. Like, he's not living and dying by opportunities in front of the net anymore. And it paid off like no other for him. Now, it was like, and you could tell, and we talked about this before, when he got hurt, it seemed to kind of deflate the team. Now, granted, depth sucked last season.
And we traded in a way, people.
Yeah, they got decimated at that point. But if he has a bounce back like we're hoping for, he should be in your middle 6, if not top 6. And that's going to be huge, because with the line that you've mentioned there, you've got him and Copp, who are very sound defensively, guys that are on your PK as it is. Raymond, I think, started getting mixed down on the PK, and I like the way that they were starting to run that, having their best players on the PK, because now you've got guys that can take advantage of it, go the other way, unless your name is Suter, and he's going to take advantage of it all the time. But now we got Christian Fischer and or Joe Veleno to hopefully take that over if he gets signed. But to go back to Raz and Copp, like, you've got two guys, now you've got 2 centers on that line. I know that Perron took some center draws and didn't do awful there last season. I don't think DeBrincat does anything at center.
No, but Ras, I think, at the end of the day, is going to be more of a winger. And Brian Fischer, if you're listening, Ryan says Mike Rasmussen, top line winger.
Could be.
No, but here's the thing, though. You talk about like top line wingers, like that term kind of gets thrown out loosely. I feel like in a perfect world, you would have like your McDavid, Draisaitl, and whoever else, basically, right? And obviously, that's an assortment of riches, or like Pasternak, Marchand, Bergeron, your perfection line of de facto. We don't really have that,
unless
but you
it's
don't
the
need
playoffs.
to have that. Yeah, but you don't need to have that. Like sometimes a guy like Michael Rasmussen, is he a first or second line forward? Maybe not, but in this role in this team, if you're looking for like playmakers and goal scorers and guys that obviously are going to try and hunt pucks, Rasmussen, Copp, both on that on that second line, and Raymond could be a de facto goal scorer at that point. So, and obviously he can do a little bit of both. And in that case, we talked about the playmaking ability already, but I like that second line. I mean, that's good. And yeah, again, like I said, Rasmussen, maybe not your top 6 forward, but in this case he is, and I like it right there.
Synergy.
Let me throw this at you. So what we just mentioned, I'm looking at cap friendly depth charts right now. So that top line of DeBrincat, Larkin, Perron, that's 66, 79, and 56 points respectively. I'm going to name you another top line. Tell me if you can tell me what team it comes from. Now, granted, one of the players was hurt, so their points are a little bit lower, but it was 45, 66, and 57. That was your top line for the Stanley Cup champions.
Oh.
Now, granted, Eichel was hurt.
Sure, but that goes back to
66
depth.
points in 67 games, but that was Eichel, Barbashev, and Marchessault.
Well, that goes back to depth, right? They built a deep
That's
team.
where I was going with that. Yes.
They won because they were deep.
And played good defense.
So that second line, I think, checks out. And we'd all be happy with it if it shook out that way. So third line, I've got Klim Kostin, JT Compher, Jonatan Berggren. You've got your angry man in Klim Kostin. You've got your offensive center in JT Compher. You've got your dual threat offense in Jonatan Berggren, who can score and also is a setup guy. You are hoping that Compher continues his offensive production and boosts it up. So you've got Berggren as a setup guy for Compher. You've got Klim Kostin to clear and get pucks out of the corner and beat people up. And then you've got Compher, who's also going to set up. Now, Klim Kostin is also maybe the shadow offense on that line as well, since his finishing numbers and goal per 60 are so high. He just hadn't been given more than 9 minutes a night to do anything. So you hope that with more help and with guys who can feed him the puck in good situations, like a Berggren, who we've seen make plenty of spectacular passing plays in his very short period of time, that maybe you unlock Kostin's offense too. But again, synergy. You've got it across that third line as well in Kostin, Compher, and Berggren. So what do you guys got?
You could also flip flop Kostin and Rasmussen if you believe in Klim Kostin's offensive upside.
I think those two are pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, I also think JT Compher and Andrew Copp are pretty interchangeable as well. I know you talked about kind of they are very similar players. Copp is a more responsible defensive player, where Compher a little bit more offensive, not as responsible defensively. But I mean, if he can boost that production a little bit, I mean, you're looking at 3 really good centers in Larkin, Copp, and Compher. I mean, and wasn't Compher the third line center on the Avalanche, the Stanley Cup champs?
Yeah, but he was flexed up part of the season because of all the injury. Like the Avalanche were like dead from injuries.
This past year, yes.
Yeah, and that's what Compher said. Well, and I mean, this past year is when Compher got more opportunity as well. So
I don't know. I'm torn here. I think what I was starting to look at was that flipping Berggren with Kostin, because going with a line of Berggren, Compher, and Sprong, there's a lot of skill there. Or Copp, however you want to have it shake out.
Now I dropped Sprong because of having offense on the fourth line.
Yeah. But even with the way I was looking at it, you still got offense on this fourth line here. But we'll get that in a second. But I mean, I like Berggren feeding Sprong a lot in this situation. But it wouldn't be off because Sprong's a righty. Is Kostin a righty?
I believe Kostin's a lefty.
So I like the thought. Now, granted, let's see. Compher is a righty. So he could be set up for 1-Ts, but Berggren feeding across for a one-timer to Sprong, who's got a hell of a shot. would be pretty awesome. And honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised the way things happening, or the way things could happen, I should say, if Berggren snuck his way onto the second line this year.
I think that's possible too. In Tyler, where you go back to Copp and Compher and maybe they could swap spots. I think the only reason that Compher might play up and that even that Copp might be swapped to the wing is because Compher is a right-handed shot at center.
Yep.
And if you could get a right-handed shot at 2C, you might take that over Andrew Copp, who's a left at 2C, even though their kind of play styles and numbers are pretty similar. But it's just, again, it's everyone is swappable. It's like you can pull out a piece from the third line and put it in the second or first line. You can pull out a piece from the first line and put it on, like you could pull David Perron out of the first line and throw him on the third line. And you could put Berggren up top with DeBrincat and Larkin. Probably not a great idea because that's two smaller guys and no one huge. But you could do it and it probably wouldn't hurt you as much. You could pull Andrew Copp, like you said, you could pull Andrew Copp from the second line, throw him on the top with Larkin and DeBrincat, and it'd be perfectly fine. And it would actually probably be a really good top line. So
yeah, that's why I wouldn't even be afraid of Raymond being up there with Larkin and DeBrincat. Like I said, you know that he's likely gained weight this offseason and put on more muscle. We could already tell that had happened going into last season. The way that he was definitely more confident and not as timid, if you will, going into the board battles and trying to go for the puck and this and that. But so if there's an improvement there, if he's got himself up like 190, 185, 190, have at it, because you know that's going to be brick shit house.
If he could work on his evasiveness like we saw him do at Traverse City during training camp, where that was that video of him playing keep away and pissing off Larkin.
Yeah.
And we saw it in preseason too, where he had some what I call Datsuk moments, where he was playing keep away with guys and just deking them out of their skates. And if he could do that through the whole season, and gaining weight's part of it, and being a little faster and a little more seasoned is part of it, I think you could put him on that top line. Now, a lot of people will put him on that top line. The people will say your top line is DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond. And I'm not against it either. But I think spreading out the offense might be a little bit more beneficial.
You're right.
Thank you. So we're going to go on to line 4. No, do you have more, Tyler?
Yeah, no.
More from Tyler.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, if you just look up and down this lineup, there's so much depth. And like, you know, you just look like at this compared to what we had, you know, even just 2 years ago, and it's like night and day. And I remember Ryan talking on the podcast this couple of years ago, just saying there's going to be a turnover in the 2023-24 or going up to the 2023-24 off season. There's going to be a huge turnover in the roster, and there really has been.
I bugged Jay Fresh to him, like, can we get the War roster builder? And he didn't respond, so because it's not done yet. And that'll probably be next week's episode when it finally launches. But I'm really excited to see just how many more wins this roster has over last season. And I will bet you it is a fairly decent amount.
And to your point, Tyler, again, of the depth piece, how many forwards has Vegas lost? I guess is the thing I should have looked at. Because I know that Riley Smith's not on here, but I don't believe that he was typically top line for them anyways.
Lost or thrown overboard?
He was technically thrown overboard, but he won the cup. But I mean, you look at Jack Eichel, 66 points in 67 games. Their next top scorer was Chandler Stevenson on here with 65 over 81. Outside of that, like this is like looking like, what year was it where Detroit had no one barely over like 60 points, but were a top team, 70 points? Like Datsuk Zetterberg era. I can't remember what year it was exactly, but
09, not 09, 10, like 10, 11 or something like that after the 2 cup runs.
Yeah, like it just top to bottom, they were just good.
So we're going to go on to the 4th line. And I don't think we can argue this one. And again, I did this because Joe Veleno is not signed yet. Christian Fischer, Robby Fabbri, Daniel Sprong. I've got Robby Fabbri as the center right now. If Veleno signs, Veleno slots in. I have a hard time thinking they're going to make Christian Fischer an extra. And at that point,
think they will.
At that point, Robby Fabbri's your extra. And you've got a $4 million extra forward. But again, maybe he's not ready to start the season and we'll see what happens. Or a week into the season, he's injured again. So I think that Christian Fischer, Robby Fabbri, Daniel Sprong. Fischer's your defensive guy. Daniel Sprong's your offense. Robby Fabbri is both. He's a facilitator and he can score. So again, I had said previously, and I've been saying for the past 2 or 3 seasons now, when Robby Fabbri is your third or fourth line winger / center, you have a deep team. You're ready to make a playoff run. Robby Fabbri is now at this point a fourth liner on your team, based on how I'm shaking things out and how things look the most evenly spread offensively and defensively of the forward group. Robby Fabbri is your fourth liner, or he's an extra. That's what it looks like to me.
And you know what's even worse is that he can be either one of those things, fourth liner extra. But if someone's nicked up in a game, he can move into the top 6.
Sure.
And produce.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I like him on the fourth line here because at this point, he's got knees worse than a 90-year-old.
Yeah, and he scares me at center, but he doesn't scare me at center on the fourth line.
No, I think he can be okay in that depth role unless you're playing a team like Vegas, for instance, that has just a stud and ridiculous fourth line that is going to eat you up in all situations. But that's not the consistent thing you're going to see across the league. So, I mean, it's starting to become more of a thing because of the way how things are starting to shake out with teams. But if you've got Fischer, Fabbri, and Sprong, as you mentioned there, or even Kostin, as we were just talking about, there's speed, there's scoring, and there's some size.
Yep.
Now, depends on if you have Kostin. Like, if you have Kostin and Fischer out there together, you're in good shape.
And like we said, Fischer is a very defensively responsible guy. That was one thing. Part of the reason that I don't like Robby Fabbri at center is because of the defensive lapses. And if you've got Fischer there to recover for that, especially on the fourth line, you're okay. I think you're okay. And like right now, I have Joe Veleno as the extra forward because he doesn't have a contract left. If he gets a contract, it makes things a little bit more, I guess, different. Like you can move him.
If he doesn't have a contract, spot. There's a roster spot now. So who's going to get it?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to move on to defense. On defense, I have a top pair of Jake Walman and Mo Seider. That's not changing. There's no way you guys are going to argue that.
We're not debating that one.
No,
I don't even think we need to debate. We don't have to debate the top 4 for that matter.
So there is debate within the top 4, and I'll bring it up. Now, you guys might not have debate. So right now I've got Shayne Gostisbehere and Justin Holl as the second pair. So the debate there has been, well, maybe your middle pair is Olli Maatta and Shayne Gostisbehere. Shayne Gostisbehere on the right, Maatta on the left. And then your bottom pair would be Ben Chiarot and Justin Holl. And to that I say, oh my God, no. Please don't, because now there's 2 sides to this coin. Side one is Toronto and the media is a bunch of crying babies and they just blame Justin Holl for everything. And he's not actually that bad. So that's one side of it. And that's the side I hope to believe, is that Justin Holl will fill the role that he's supposed to fill with less pressure and limited play in situations and not have to be crucified by the Toronto fan base. The other side of the coin is he is actually that bad. And you put him with Ben Chiarot, who is worse. And then you have a black hole of a third pairing, which I don't want. So to me, a second pair of Shayne Gostisbehere, who is offense, and Justin Holl, who is defense, on the same line it's a good pairing to me. And then your third pair is Olli Maatta and Ben Chiarot, with an extra being Gustav Lindstrom. I can't argue with that. Plus, it's a pretty improved defense from what we had last season.
No, I can see the Maatta and Gostisbehere, and honestly, I wouldn't hate it because you could easily compare Gostisbehere and Maatta to Maatta and Hronek, who were a fantastic duo.
Yep.
That's almost an exact comparison that you can make, to be honest. And you're not, but I think the argument there is maybe Ghost plays a little bit better defensively than Hronek will. So I wouldn't be mad about it, but like to your point of Holl and Chiarot, that just kind of scares me. So I'd prefer to avoid that at all costs. So if you're telling me Holl, and I like the second pairing going left-right at this point, like go your third pair kind of, I'm fine doing whatever. The matchups aren't going to be as intense. Maybe it lets them move around a little bit more and be free with what they got to do. And Chiarot already plays the right D role a bit if he's going to be there with Maatta on the third pairing. So I like the right left on the second, just out of me.
Now you ready for crazy time? The other option people have been talking about is a second pair of Olli Maatta and Justin Holl, and a third pair of Ben Chiarot and Shayne Gostisbehere.
I hate that.
I hate it too, but that I just like, I think, the more offense on the second pair. I do think that Gostisbehere might make up a bit for the faults of Ben Chiarot, but I mean, you could even put Ben Chiarot as your extra, and again, you'd be paying an extras at $4.75 million and slide Gustav Lindstrom up to your third pair and have a third pair of Maatta and Lindstrom, and then you've got all righties on the right, all lefties on the left. So,
I just don't understand the re-signing of Lindstrom when you're trying to get Edvinsson into the lineup.
I guarantee it's, for one, he's cheap, and two, he's a righty.
He said he knows his role. He knows where he's going to be. He's on a two. He could be in Grand Rapids one day, be in Detroit the next day, be sitting in the press box. Edvinsson comes up. It's not a threat. I mean, you just send Lindstrom to Grand Rapids.
And you play Ben Chiarot on the 8th floor or whatever, de facto a healthy scratch.
I would not be surprised if we see a decent amount of 7D this year, to be honest.
I would be surprised if we saw Ben Chiarot traded at the deadline with salary retainage.
That too. But I mean, I don't know. The 7D I could see happening at times, depending on the team that they have to go against. But if they're struggling with the 4 lines they've got now in place that we're assuming they're going to have, then there's something amiss, or guys are playing hurt, or something stupid's going on.
Yeah, I don't hate the D pairs. I wonder, and I know Walman and Seider worked well together last year. Does that mean they're going to work well together this coming year? Maybe. But could you see a Gostisbehere slide up there and play with Seider to unlock Seider's potential offensively a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's
Walman can do it too. I'm just saying, I think Walman and Gostisbehere could be a little bit interchangeable.
Yeah, I think Gostisbehere brings a little bit more offensively than Walman. Not trying to say that Walman can't do it. We've already seen what he can do offensively. It's there. But Ghost, like, ever since he's been in the league, that's what he's been known for. And you could argue Walman's the same way. But there's an extra level that Ghost can take it to, in my opinion, that Walman just hasn't hit yet, but will. And I think learning and playing with Gostisbehere is going to make Walman that much better offensively. But I could definitely see Seider and Ghost, like, end of game situations playing out there together and on the power play.
I don't hate the idea.
Yeah, so let's move to power play. So on power play 1, I have Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat, JT Compher, David Perron, and Moritz Seider. Again, Perron, facilitator on the power play. Dylan Larkin scoring or facilitating. DeBrincat is scoring or facilitating. You're hoping JT Compher bumps that offense up. And you've got Mo Seider. Mo Seider I put on power play 1. People are saying that Shayne Gostisbehere might also be able to quarterback power play 1, and I don't doubt that he could. But I have Mo Seider there more for defense than I do for offense. And he's also a great facilitator, gets the puck to the net. So there's both there. But because I put Copp on the second power play, who is the more defensive forward, I threw Seider as the quarterback of power play 1, who can also play the defense if they're caught.
I could go either way on the back end. Like, I'm not going to be mad if it's Seider, and I'm not going to be mad if it's Gostisbehere. I think we started to finally see it in flashes last year that Seider was finally taking the shot, if you will, meaning firing the puck on net, trying to get it through bodies, and just creating havoc if it does get knocked down, and trying to go for a loose puck goal. That is something, again, kind of speaking of what I just said with Ghost and Walman, is Gostisbehere has really excelled at getting pucks through on the power play, moving on the power play, and really, I think he'll fit well with the way Detroit tries to cycle the puck. That's where it would probably, much to people's better judgment, take away some minutes from Seider overall. But at the same time, that's not going to be a bad thing if he's not out there every single minute of the day. And you kind of save him in that sense. But that'd be the only thing I think I would change up, would be Ghost and Seider. But even then, I'm not even convinced that I would do that, like make the switch.
I know what I would do. I would move Seider down to the second power play unit. I would switch Compher and Raymond, just because I think if you have DeBrincat out there and you also have Ghost out there, you have 2 one-timer opportunities, and then Raymond's also the facilitator and able to make his passes with Larkin also out there. So that's what I would do.
Oh wow, I did realize you did put 4 righties on that line there, Greg.
Okay, but my problem is that I'm trying to put offense also on power play unit 2. So on unit 2, I've got Andrew Copp, Michael Rasmussen, Lucas Raymond, Jonatan Berggren, Shayne Gostisbehere. Mm-hmm. So that is where I'm looking and saying, hey, this is going to be another offensive line that also is defensively responsible with someone like Michael Rasmussen and someone like Andrew Copp. And then you've got, like you said, Gostisbehere, who's getting the puck to the net. You've got Rasmussen, who can sit net front and tap it in. You've got Berggren, who can make plays from anywhere on the ice or behind the net. You've got Lucas Raymond, who again is making plays or putting the puck in the net. So I took Raymond off of power play 1 to put him on power play 2 just to spread out the high caliber offense.
I agree with you, and I do kind of like that philosophy, but if you look at most of the NHL, it seems like they load up on power play 1, and power play 2 is kind of like, the last 30 seconds of the power play, and it's not really that big of a deal.
I would like to try to go with a fucking loaded power play 1 this year. See how it goes. If it starts out great, keep it. If it doesn't, break it up.
Great. Then your power play 1 is Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond, David Perron, Shayne Gostisbehere.
Let's go.
There's your power play 1. And that's all pucks on net. That's what that power play is called. All pucks on net.
There's guys that can move and skate. You can put DeBrincat on the left side, let Perron float. Actually, him and DeBrincat can float and switch sides if they need to. Have at it.
Then your second power play becomes Andrew Copp, JT Compher, Moritz Seider, Michael Rasmussen, Jonatan Berggren. Which again, still not terrible, right? And you might switch someone out. I mean, maybe you could switch out JT Compher for Daniel Sprong. You could switch someone out for Sprong just to see if there's maybe even a little more offense. Or you could switch out Andrew Copp for Daniel Sprong.
Because I would do that, honestly.
Put in Klim Kostin for a net front kind of situation.
Yep.
Well, Michael Rasmussen's net front on power play 2. So,
he could also be net front on power play 1.
I kind of like it's not going to happen, but I like the idea of Sprong over Copp.
Yeah, because Sprong, you would think he has better finishing. Yeah.
Because Andrew Copp sometimes reminds me of Filppula 2.0.
Oh, no.
When it comes to his not wanting to shoot.
Ugh. I think either way you go, again, the power play, special teams looked like a focus. We're shoring up special teams wins games. That's what happens. So it looks like our special teams are much deeper on the power play. On the penalty kill, it's just about the same. Penalty kill 1, I've got Andrew Copp, Michael Rasmussen, Olli Maatta, Moritz Seider. It's my penalty kill 1, and my penalty kill 2 is Christian Fischer, Klim Kostin, Jake Walman, Justin Holl. Again, I don't think you're getting beat much on either. I mean, you could switch Fischer and Copp. You could put Fischer up to PK1 because he is your de facto Suter replacement, where he's a penalty kill specialist. And then you bring Copp and Kostin on penalty kill 2 as the forwards, and then Walman and Holl. Again, depth, guys. And it should be even better with, Bob Bugner, he improved as the season went on too. So you got a much stronger group there.
Yeah, I think they're going to roll solid with 3 penalty kill lines, at least on the forward side of things, because I don't think you're going to see a situation where Larkin is not out there for some of the PK. They emphasized that a lot last year, it felt like, and he did, I thought, very well at times. And we saw Raymond out there as well. I think you're going to see some of the top players, maybe not DeBrincat, but Larkin and or Raymond getting a significant amount of PK time to try to offset what it is the attacking team is trying to do.
I mean, their penalty kill is as good, well, potentially as good as we've seen it in a long time. I mean, those are all responsible defensive players. I mean, guys that hopefully don't give up the puck. I mean, Holl is the one guy that kind of scares me a little bit in terms of turnovers, but I mean, we'll see what happens when he's not playing in that pressure cooker that is Toronto. So I don't know. I mean, I like it. That's pretty much all I have to add to that.
So that's the lineup. I think we're all pretty much on the same page with everything, right? Penalty kill and power play, which there's, again, room to switch people around and create synergy and even more there. But Ryan has found something else, and it's Filip Zadina. We're going to talk about Filip Zadina again because it's apparently the story that never ends. So go ahead, Ryan.
So Jenna Trotman posted this, and thanks to Dr. Detroit Spartan for pointing out that the comment was made. It just so happened to pop up on my Twitter here. But Jenna Trotman from WXYZ did a short minute-long segment, and part of the quote that came from that was, "I would rather go somewhere else to get the opportunity and prove myself that I'm still the good player as I used to be." I'm sorry, but what opportunity was not there for Filip Zadina in Detroit?
Okay, you guys freak out before I'll give you my take on it. Go ahead.
I think he's delusional. That's what I think.
I mean, it's a nothing story, to be honest. And from what I heard real quick in the comments is that other guys were getting chances, but I'm like, okay, well, they performed better than you. I'm not saying that we talked highly of Zadina, and as well as probably equally shit on him the same amount of times, but it's because it was the roller coaster of emotion that he gave us when he was on the ice. We knew that the potential was there. I went back and found my tweet from the night he was drafted and losing my shit that we got the steal of the draft. And here we are 5 years later, nothing came from it. Like, not on us as fans to be. I mean, we're going to be pissed off that you were a shit sixth overall pick. We could have had Quinn Hughes back there on the back end, but no, you had to fall, and now we see why. And to say that, like, the fact that he is pissed off because players that were brought in were better than him, okay, fucking try. You're in your man's league, fucking man up.
Guys like Lucas Raymond passed him the day he was drafted.
Yeah.
The day he was drafted and came into camp, Lucas Raymond passed him. So, I mean, obviously, as a hockey player, you lose an opportunity in Detroit, and then you basically forego the money that you had, and basically become a UFA. And, you know, good for him. He's getting an opportunity. I obviously, I hope he gets an opportunity and does well. But, like, to say that you didn't get opportunity in Detroit is bullshit. I'm sorry. It just is. Yeah, maybe Jeff Blashill didn't give him all the opportunity in the world, but certainly this past year he was given the opportunity. Yeah, he got hurt. But you know what? At the end of the day, he didn't pan out. And you know what? We can look back at Ken Holland, and he overthought this. Quinn Hughes was right there. He was right in your backyard at Michigan. You saw him play in the NCAA tournament. You saw how good of a player he was, and you passed on him. And now he's, a very good defenseman in the NHL. And you could have had Quinn Hughes there. And he's still, in my opinion, obviously, Edvinsson, if he pans out, that will be, your de facto Quinn Hughes, obviously not the same kind of player, but still a very good left shot defenseman. And for Zadina to say that, yeah, I guess as a hockey player, you understand he's going to kind of go back at the organization that wouldn't really trade him. So he had to forego the rest of his money and kind of just get his contract terminated, which I have a hard time believing someone wouldn't give up a 7th round pick for Filip Zadina.
Yeah, but his contract
they didn't take him for free.
It's unbelievable that someone just didn't take him for free. I mean, especially nowadays,
they did.
Where everyone
they got him for cheaper now.
Right. But just think about a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, or even a team like the Boston Bruins that are going to lose Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci. And obviously, they're not the same player with the same position, but need of goal scoring and the premium of where you're at in terms of cap space. I'm kind of shocked he didn't get an opportunity, where someone just didn't take him for free. But what was his cap hit though?
It's 1.1 now. It wasn't
it 1.75 or something?
Okay, so I guess
1.825.
So San Jose just figured, well, he'll probably just get non-tenured and become a UFA or get his contract terminated, and we'll get him for cheaper.
I mean, San Jose essentially saved a ELC contract spot with that.
Yep. So you ready to close it out on this? One, I don't think he was mad at all. I would have to watch the video to see how he says it, but I don't think it's malicious. No, and why it's being said, and I had talked about this previously, look at the roster. And he's not talking about given chances last season or the season before. He's talking about being given chances this season. And with the way the roster is right now, Filip Zadina is an extra over Joe Veleno, who's already an extra. There is zero chance for him to even dream about cracking this roster. You know why he went to San Jose? Because their team is a dumpster. There is
he
no
doesn't have to
way
actually fucking try.
Filip Zadina and his agent, and even if he asked for a fresh start before the draft because he knew what was going to happen, because you look at the roster and you look at the cap space and you look at Steve Yzerman and his glowing visage and you say, hey, there is no way in hell that I am going to have a chance to break the roster that Steve Yzerman is building. And looking at it now, who are you playing Zadina above to even give him a shot at making the roster? When you've got guys like Carter Mazer, when you've got guys like Marco Kasper, when you've got guys like that are going to work to try and earn a spot and get in here, who's he going to break in above? So of course he's going to say something like that. It doesn't make sense for him not to.
And those two names that you just mentioned are names that I'm watching the longer this Veleno saga goes on. I'm using saga now.
Thank you. So you look at it, and Zadina is doing the same thing I'm doing. You're looking at it, you're going, well, I can't beat out Berggren. I'm not going to beat out Daniel Sprong, who was just signed. If Robby Fabbri's knees explode, maybe I beat him, but then Joe Veleno's in there. Joe Veleno scored more goals than me, assisted more than me, and was better defensively than me. And I just
can play two positions.
I just went on a Sharks podcast to talk about Filip Zadina and what they were getting in Filip Zadina. And if he can turn it around, great. He'll be fantastic for them. And he can play responsibly when he wants to. And there are good things to say about him. But I don't think the comment that he made was in any way malicious toward the organization. I don't think it was a comment made in anger. I don't think he was pissed off. I think he looked at it and said, well, shit, I can't make this roster. I don't want to play in the AHL. No one wants me in a trade. No one's going to take me on waivers. I need to get a clean break. And that's why he gave up the money to get a clean break to go sign with another team. So,
I mean, if anything, the only thing that Joe Veleno probably had on Filip Zadina was that he is a center. Because if you look at the last two seasons, Veleno has 4 more points than Zadina and 43 more games played.
Maybe there's your tie. But were we expecting Joe Veleno to be a top 6 player? Or were we expecting Filip Zadina to be a top 6 player?
Zadina,
I mean, I was starting to reserve myself to Filip Zadina being a depth potential scoring forward, but
so I think that is where we are going to end ever talking about Filip Zadina again on this podcast, unless he comes back. And I want to go to final thoughts. And since Tyler might not be here for another month, we'll start with him.
No, my final thoughts are you like how I didn't even acknowledge you there.
As you do.
No, my final thoughts are this is the deepest team we've had in a long time. I mean, obviously there's still things that can still happen, but we're in a quiet situation at this point. It doesn't really look like there's going to be much more movement, I don't think. And then yet Steve Yzerman could go and make a move tomorrow if he wanted to. So we say that now. But honestly, this team is as deep as we've seen it in a while. This is probably the most anticipated Red Wings season that we've had in a long time, probably since 2012, 13, somewhere around there. It's been almost 10 years now, which is shocking to say that. But when you miss the playoffs, so it's 7 straight years, this is kind of where you're at this point. You've had a lot. It's been a long road to get to this point. And obviously they're not quite there yet, but they're going to be knocking on the door of the playoffs. And obviously we haven't done projections or anything like that. That's for another time, but we're in a good spot. I always talked about that light at the end of the tunnel. You're starting to really see it. It's like hitting you in the face at this point. Now, I'm not talking about a Stanley Cup contender. I'm talking about a playoff contender where, you could get into the playoffs, maybe on the outside looking in, but more than likely a chance to get in the playoff, especially with the Alex DeBrincat trade and then signing. So you can follow me on Twitter at SealDog91.
Yeah, no, my final thoughts, I'm kind of jump on what you said there about a team that's going to be contending. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself and say that it's a playoff team. Should that be the exception, I think, for much of the season? Probably. If they don't make it, I'm not going to be upset. Will I still bitch a little bit? Yeah, because that's what I'm going to do. But at the same time, like, there needs to be growth. We've seen growth with the way that Yzerman has rebuilt this team the last several years. And Tyler, I don't know if you saw it when I put it on Twitter, but we talked about it last year. If you don't include Fabbri, there's 5 guys that have survived the purge since Yzerman took over. There's a couple prospects that are mixed in that I don't have included in that, but that was, if you look at NHL roster players that have made their way through since roughly 18-19, 5 guys. This should have started a long time ago. We've said this over and over that we're basically blue in the face. It's a process. We're not sipping on the Kool-Aid for Yzerman because we think he's fantastic, because he is. It's that we understand how bad this fucking roster was when he came in. We are no longer in that situation. Do they still need a high-end player? Yeah. Are they close to getting some of those on this team? Yes. There's guys knocking on the door soon in Grand Rapids. It's coming. Don't be pissed if it's not there this season. That's all I got to say. So, Tyler, did you have something to add there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, not to mention how many people, when you're building a roster like this, if it's a situation, obviously DeBrincat's a guy that could put you over the top and be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, a year down the line when Austin Matthews is a free agent, potentially.
Next year's free agent class is going to be potentially pretty damn good, but that cap going up saves some teams, I think, a lot of headache.
And what I'm saying by that is, like, not saying Austin Matthews. I'm saying a player to that caliber could say, you know what? I like what Detroit's doing. I really think I could fit there. Can we make it work with Steve Yzerman? There it is. And there's your star player. And now you're off and running.
And you're still hearing again this year that players saw that Yzerman's calling. They took that phone call because they know what's coming from it, and that he would see something in them to help try to make this team better and get them back to what they grew up on. So we'll see. But to not be such negative Nancy, other than that, I mean, we're finally hitting the, oh shit, what are we going to talk about stage of the summer? So hopefully we'll have something crazy happen in the next week. If not, then we'll see what happens. But other than that, RD Ryan 33.
My final thoughts are playoffs, baby. Let's fucking do this. Yeah, Ryan.
Hey, who won the giveaway?
That was Red Wings Ryan.
We announced that. Did we announce that last week on here? I don't think we did.
Not on the podcast, but Red Wings Ryan won. Congrats, Red Wings Ryan. I'm gonna get your thing in the mail soon. But yeah, playoffs, baby. That is my final thoughts. Again, sub to us on YouTube if you haven't. Turn on the notifications. Get notified every time a video goes live. Talk to us on there. Talk to us on Twitter. Talk to us everywhere. We'd like to give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network for hosting us and spreading us around at HockeyPodNet, to Vintage Detroit, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and worked on. If you use the promo code GRINDLINE on Howie's Hockey Tape, you get 10% off. Same promo code on Bring Hockey Back gets you 12% off. And you can find our merch on redbubble.com by searching The Grindline. You can follow me at Bringing the Wing. You can follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. That's going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan and Tyler, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.